So this morning I decided to make biscuits. And since we've been doing the World War II rationing, we did have 2 sticks of butter left. So that worked out perfect. Actually, we had 3 sticks. So I was able to use one. And I put in 3 cups of flour, a tablespoon and a half of baking powder, and a teaspoon and a half of salt. And then using my pastry cutter, I broke all of the butter into it, and I did not feel like talking this morning. I had just woken up, and I was just trying to get breakfast made, and so I thought, I'll just do voiceover later because I don't feel like talking right now. I hadn't even had my coffee at that point. And you know, in the morning, coffee is important. In fact, I never did finish that cup. We've got more in the pot. I may have to go fill it up. It's been about an hour and a half. Anyway, so I cut the butter into the pastry or into the flour, and then using Bulgarian buttermilk, and I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. I put in, I think I ended up doing about 1 3/4 cups. And it was a little too sticky, but I just added flour when I was getting ready to roll it out. So it worked out perfect. But the reason I say Bulgarian buttermilk is important, my Mima always used Bulgarian buttermilk. And it was just, it made the best biscuits. Sorry, my chair's squeaky. It just made the best biscuits. And I remember her teaching me how to do it from scratch. And I would make biscuits just for me and her when I stayed with her. And oh my goodness, they were always so good. Of course, back then we made cat head biscuits. I cut them out. She always did drop biscuits that were huge. That's why they were called cat head biscuits. But I cut them out. I think it's more fun and I like the uniformity of it. But I actually had everything laid out to do the video this time, or just about. But while I was doing this, I actually had our largest cast iron skillet in the oven getting hot. And I just find that that makes crispier biscuits. Like the outside gets crispy and they're delicious. So I just added a little bit more flour to this. I wonder if you could see my socks. No, you can't see them. I had leprechaun socks. They're fun. But I put them on last night, and I thought they were cute. But I don't know what I'm doing. I was running around. Oh, I'm getting my cutter. So one thing that I found that makes super good flaky biscuits is just to fold the dough like you would be folding a piece of paper. And not overwork it, but just folding it really helps make it flakier. And of course, all that butter in there just makes it amazing. So I did all the folding, and then I did have to add flour a couple times just to get the right consistency. But I don't use a rolling pin. I just use my hands, flatten it out to the right thickness. I find that if I use a rolling pin, I tend to make it too thin. So I like to do it by hand. And then I just cut out perfect little biscuits. They're so cute. And they were so delicious. You'll see pictures of them coming soon. So I spent the time and I cut out all the biscuits. So you're going to watch me do that. It's going to take a couple minutes. But while I was doing that, I had another skillet ready for bacon. So I fried up bacon, and then once I had the biscuits in the oven, I made scrambled eggs using 6 of our 8 eggs that we had left. So we have 2 eggs left, and we have the rest of today, and I don't really know if we'll use them or not. Probably not. So that'll be a leftover thing, but I'll record at the end of the day what all we had left and all that stuff. So anyway, I just took the dough there and I kept working it to get as many biscuits out of it as I could. And one thing I'm very careful not to overwork that dough because you want it to be as light as possible. And if you knead it like you would a regular bread dough, it just gets too tough. So I didn't do too much. Speaking of bread, I didn't make bread today. My kids devoured the last bread that I made. They love bread. Of course, the biscuits, I still have a plate full on the table. I'm fixing to put them in a bag. They did put everything else up, but the biscuits were still too hot and we had to be somewhere. So we left and we were gone about an hour and a half and just got back. So anyway, that's my biscuits right there. And I pulled the skillet out. When I pulled it out, it was very, very hot. And I actually melted a little bit on my tablecloth and I didn't realize it. It's not a table. I mean, it's a tablecloth, but it's the vinyl stuff. I just got it this week. I buy the cheap ones and just replace them as needed. Helps protect the table. Our table was actually my husband's grandmother's set, and we love it. It fills up the whole middle of the kitchen, and it's very useful. So into this super hot skillet, I just put as much of the biscuits as I could fit in there. I wish y'all could have heard it. It was sizzling. It was cool. I was like, ooh, yeah. And then my husband came in with his patriotic pajamas there. And he was getting the kids up about that time and trying to get them to get ready before breakfast was ready. So those went into the oven. And I had another skillet ready to go in. So I put all those in the second skillet and then they went into the oven. And then I buttered the tops. Now we were eating them more like a breakfast sandwich, so I didn't butter the insides, but my husband buttered his before he made his breakfast sandwich because he likes butter in his biscuits. But they turned out amazing. They were crispy on the bottom and fluffy on the top. And everybody enjoyed it. And I loved them. They were absolutely wonderful.